We are still early. We are still early, guys. Bitcoin is inches away from its all-time high. S&P 500, likewise. And we can see that happening also with gold, also in striking distance from its all-time high. Amidst a favorable Fed rate cut decisions, you see that also with regulatory positivity on this crypto front, with a bullish president. What else can we hope for? All-time highs is coming very, very soon. And we are still early to this. We are all early to this. We are all early to take advantage of this market volatility and make money. That's why you are here watching this video. My name is Obi. I'm a prop trader from Ashedge, and I'm here to make you a smart trader. I'm here to make you a better trader. I'm here to make you see opportunities that align with this space and make you money. Let's just jump right into the content I have for you today, because we are just bullish across the board, and that cannot get me any more excited. Looking at all the sectors, you can see we are nearing all-time highs from S&P 500, Bitcoin, and gold. What else do we want to make money? And that is it. VanEck CEO is saying Bitcoin still has a long way to go before most allocators include it in their portfolio, because we are still early. Guys, let's take advantage. We are still early.
It's so far away from penetrating those dark rooms where the big money lies. Now, sorry, long answer to your question about the wealth channel. I think we're seeing the beginning of adoption, but even for individual investors, some of the biggest retail brokerage firms wouldn't allow the sale of Bitcoin ETFs, Vanguard, for example, right? I mean, that's a big exception. That's for the first wave, right? Now, if we're looking at financial advisors, long ways to go before most allocators include Bitcoin, and we can talk about why, into their portfolios. Long ways to go, and kudos to BlackRock for doing some of that. Bitcoin is so far away.
Are you adopting? You should be adopting. Everyone is adopting. From government to private, public institutions are adopting. The only one left right now is retail. But we are not that retail. You guys watching this video and me, we are not that type of retail. We are part of the smart money, positioning ourselves to take advantage of this. And we are only seeing a smidget of adoption from the institutions.
And we're focused on its characteristics as an alternate form of money. We're focused on the fact that it's decentralized, that it's geopolitically neutral, and we're starting to see adoption in that sense. So that narrative of investment appearing among institutional investors, among public sector investors, among national governments. But we are still very early in that trend. And so it's not very surprising that in an environment where investors are rapidly switching risk off in their portfolios, that we're seeing some correlation between crypto assets and other asset classes.
Correct. It's decentralized, geopolitically neutral, and a lot of investors are already switching risk off. This asset class we are dealing with is part of the new layer of the internet. This is the new financial system we are talking about here. A scarce, global, decentralized asset, detached from economic, political, and monetary risk of any country. It is neutral from geopolitical risk. That is why even right now, with the current price and the bullish narrative and catalyst that is going for it, amidst all the geopolitical risk, although the tensions have been cooling down and we have been seeing detent in the geopolitical front, but all this is speaking and is a catalyst to the whole premise of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency market as a whole. The whole reason of its existence.
A scarce global decentralized asset that's detached from economic, political, monetary risks of any particular country. It behaving like that was an incredible switch that caused a lot of the capital that had been sitting on the sidelines trying to figure out, well, fundamentally, this feels like it should be a diversifier and a hedge, but sometimes it trades like it's it's levered beta to NASDAQ, and if it's that, I don't need it in my portfolio. But if it's this, if it actually is a diversifier and a safe haven, then I absolutely need it in my portfolio. What surprised me was that just one day, Eric, of that, and all of a sudden the flow machine came back on in a massive way like we've barely seen since these ETFs launched.
You see, ETFs, speaking of ETFs, we have seen a 2.8 billion inflow in the first half of May in Bitcoin ETFs, pushing the price upward, and we will only see this picking up steam. We also see a historical day coming out for XRP today. So we'll be watching out the price of XRP keenly, because that will really affect the price, even not just today, but moving forward from now. Because today is going to be an historical day for XRP. We know XRP and Ripple have been facing SEC legal battles for quite some time, even years, if I may say. And right now, we are just seeing the CME group going to launch XRP futures today. And this is a historical day. This is a monumental, pivotal day for XRP and Ripple. Amidst all they have gone through, the SEC battles and everything. We've also seen Trump earlier, when he got into presidency, tweet that XRP will be one of the reserves. So XRP has positioned itself as a political stronghold and a political lobbyist in that form of holding a lot of political power and a political leverage in the Trump administration, and a lot of institutional backing. This is going on for XRP. We see all of this happening for XRP, and we'll look at the price later in the video. Moving along on just fundamental news and everything, you see UK is to require crypto firms to report all user transactions starting in January 2026. This is actually a warning to a lot of crypto investors and a lot of traders domiciled in the UK to pick up their slack and move to more favorable countries, because now the government wants to know every single thing you are doing because they want to tax you. This is all anti-crypto and anti-decentralized model that we champion. Crypto, Bitcoin is a decentralized model, making you to own your own money and for you to be your own bank. And not for you to report to anyone what you want to do with your money. Of course, the UK wants to do this because they want to tax you and all other reasons. And that is anti-crypto. Just looking at taking care and be careful of governments trying to know your assets and wanting to poke nose into what you are doing. You see that even in France, now a lot of high profile crypto guys are having to hire bodyguards because they have become targets from hackers to actual criminals trying to kidnap them. Because everybody realizes, even the criminals even realize this, the hackers realizes that crypto bros are on their path to generational wealth. So they're trying to take advantage of this. All in all, our take home from this is for us to be careful, stay safe, self-custody your tokens, shy away from putting it on centralized exchanges. Have a cold wallet where you store your assets, and remain neutral and try to keep a cool head, because all eyes are on us. Even the government is on us because they want to get money. They want to tax us. Maybe I should start advocating that I should move to Dubai because it's tax-free, but that's a different conversation for another day. Anyways, we'll move on to the crypto fear and greed index, and we see we're at 74 today and this week, up from last week of 70. So we are in more greed territory, and we are inching further and further into the greed territory. Looking at crypto bubbles and the overall crypto markets and altcoins, you can see we are green majority of it, or I would say a mixed bag between green and red. And you can see what jumps out to me is virtual, Pepe, Fatcoin, WIF, Dog with Hats, Floki. So you see a lot of mixed bag of AI. Well, AI just one that's standing out, and virtuals has been doing phenomenal. And you can see meme coins is the rest, even with Dogecoin also doing bad, which we'll take a look immediately. So looking at Dogecoin, look at the price, you can see we have been moving sideways over the weekend. We seem to have maintained our support above the 200 EMA, so which is looking very bullish for the chart. Although the RSI looks to be in a divergent form, looking like it's going to be pointing downwards right now. So we'll be looking for another confirmation of that support at $2.20. So that should give us further support. If not, we should be looking for a further retest of the 18-cent levels. If we get a reset of that, we'll be looking to long the market back upwards for another long and another take profit around the 22 cents area. So we'll be looking at Dogecoin keenly in case there's anything that happens in the market, or maybe a downturn gives us an immediate correction in the market. Looking at XRP, which we are really bullish, and we spoke about the the CME futures XRP ETFs launching today. So that will be quite bullish for XRP moving forward and in the near-term future. So we'll continue to look at XRP. Looking at the RSI, we look to be moving sideways for now. So we are at the $2, $3 levels, $3.36 levels. So we'll continue to look at what the XRP is saying. We look to have rejected around the $2.04 levels. So we should be looking for a support around the $2.26. So once we get a support with that and we confirm that support, then we'll be looking for a further upside to the $2.48 levels. Looking at Bitcoin, the granddaddy of it all, we moved a 2% point something, 2% thereabout move yesterday to where we are inches away from our all-time high of $109,000 levels. So we have rejected back, and we have been sold off. So right now we are at $104,000 levels. So we see that, and that deal chart actually looks very, very bullish. So we seem to have gotten rejected at the $105,000 levels. We see if we can maintain this, because we seem to have been sold off right now at the moment. RSI looks like we are moving sideways, and we seem to still be consolidating. So this small rejection still, it looks bullish, although, but it looks like we might maybe confirm further support and the $100,000 levels before we make a further movement to the upside, because I think that will be healthy for us, especially for this price action. Looking forward to what is going to be happening this week. Looking forward to seeing this CME futures, XRP future ETF launch today, and other things, especially in the macro front and the geopolitical front, that will be happening. We'll be looking at economic data this week and what would likely affect the markets. We'll be looking also at the news cycle to see whatever Trump says or Trump doesn't say will be affecting the markets. This is all we'll be looking for, and we'll be taking advantage, making us better traders, making us manage good risk managers, and to make money from this space. I'll be seeing you tomorrow. Goodbye.